Hello and good time zones, everybody, and welcome in, dear listeners, to another episode of The Silver Lining. I am your host, Nico Silverado. I am the navigator of the digital grid, guardian of the internet, and welcome to another great day, another great episode. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are rocking it out with a lovely topic here today, talking about the importance of numbers, analytics, and also keeping an eye on how we're doing everything we can to make sure to work on our analytics, especially when the numbers don't move, and why it's important to keep creating. I am joined here by a good friend, RGB Vtuber, and fantastic person, DigiVralie. Digi, welcome in.
Hello, Nico. Thank you again for having me.
I am beyond pumped. I'm excited to have you here because it's one of those things where, you know, this show has been just exciting with every new episode because the friends I get to chat with, the topics we get to go over, and, you know, it's one of those things where this show is going to become a legacy for just, I hope that for everyone who finds this episode, whether you're watching this live on our Twitch or you're watching from the YouTube channel, I hope you're able to find ways to, you know, meet and discover new streamers, new content creators, and really appreciate the effort that so many of these creators put in. So, Digi, before we get into some of the fun topics today, I would love for you to please explain to our viewers and listeners here today, who is DigiVralie, what kind of VTuber and content creator are you?
For sure. All right. So who is DigiVralie? Well, I am an RGB Android VTuber. The lore part of me goes, I'm from a artificial planet created by Japan called Hara Jukebox. And it focuses on creativity alone. And Digi is basically sent to Earth to learn from the music masters, aka her favorite band, Daft Punk, unmentioned in the lore. But yeah, her goal is to become a popular DJ and music creator that is just like her favorite band, Daft Punk, and her hope is to bring it to Earth. And that's kind of what I want to do for both in real life and VTubing, is mix my my audio engineering career and VTubing career together so that I may make music for people to enjoy. So yeah.
I love that. And you know, it's one of those things where we actually had a moment with one of my guests the other week where we talked about how a lot of VTubers like to mix in their personal IRL professions into their models. And I like the fact that it's like you have like an audio engineering degree, and you know, and it works really cool because like for those who, if you look into their model, you know, like what's really cool is on their neck piece has like a bunch of levels, and they also have a really cool 3D model that when they talk, the levels move, which I think is really fun to see as a fun detail.
Oh yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh yeah. But Digi, I think what's really fun about today's episode and talking about, you know, the topic that we're going to be talking about here today is because I have been noticing in a lot of ways that we're kind of going through like a really interesting era in a lot of content creators and VTubers, for example, who are complaining about the metrics and who are complaining about, you know, the desire and the power to keep pushing through when analytics are not in our favor. And the reason why I wanted to talk with you about that is because, like, you know, I feel like, you know, you and many other creators that I've been noticing, I feel like I've been putting a lot more effort into making more dynamic types of content. For example, you just recently debuted with this brand new model, and you even have a 3D model as well. And and I love the fact that, like, because I think, like, for in my opinion, for VTubers are one of those things where it's harder for, I think it's harder for VTubers to, you know, adjust when it comes to like making new types of content or new appearances, because we had to invest so much more money and so much more proper planning to show anything. Because if you're a face cam streamer, showing brand new stuff is just, hey, new shirt, new haircut, or hey, I bought a $30 light, not hey, I bought a $2,000 model, look at me now.
Yeah.
No,
I totally agree with you.
But the analytics part is always insane. And before we get into some of the analytics, before I do forget, I do have some fun things for you, because for those who do not know, in my Discord and my Twitch chat, I give my guests and my my viewers the opportunity to ask our current person every week personal questions that they would like to know more about their model. And Digi, we have some people from our server who would love to know more about who you are. You ready for some questions?
Okay. Bring it.
Right on. So with you being an RGB speaker, is that right? We have people wanting to know how far can you hear, how far can you hear the music of the RGB speakers? How loud can you be?
Oh, okay. So I've actually gotten this before. So basically, when I designed Digi, I made her 3 foot. Well, starting out, I made her 2'2", and that was the size of a party speaker. The ones that you bring to like birthday parties, stuff like that. And then with you, Digi, she is only 3'3", or no, she's 3 foot. Blah, she's 3 foot. So loud AF, yes. So technically, she can get as loud as a normal party speaker that you would bring to like a birthday or like a karaoke machine. Basically, anything of that size. I don't know if like I guess mega speaker would be the name for it, because I know giga speakers like the giant ones, like the 10-foot tall ones, but she's like a basic mega speaker that you'd bring to like a party or something like that. So as loud as they could get, I actually don't know what kind of decibel range that is.
Enough to be heard through a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, enough to be heard, like I guess outside of house. She's basically just a personal portable speaker, which is why I kind of have that joke, like, oh, maybe I'm just a mini portable speaker, because technically I am. I'm Bluetooth connectivity and portable. So yeah, if you ever need music on the go, I'm your gal.
Now, if you could put a song through your speakers at maximum volume, what's the song gonna be?
Anything Daft Punk, brother. Like, let's see. If I had to pick a Daft Punk song, I would put through Human After All. Yeah. Nice. We're blasting Human After All through Walmart.
I'll put you in a shopping cart and just like, yeah.
We are human. Just push me around like a kid.
Exactly. I'll put you in the little stroller seat with your little legs wiggling around.
Yeah, for real. And then I'll give you nice visuals too. So whatever's playing will play. The equalizer will bump to that specific rhythm. So yeah.
Oh yeah. And then, so speaking of music, we have people in our community who are also wondering, have you personally ever been to an EDM concert or an EDM festival? And if so, what was your favorite / least favorite part about it?
I have been to a music festival. I've been to one, and then I've been to about 3 Daft Punk tributes. So I would consider that as like a music concert as well, like a tribute to Daft Punk. My favorite parts of them was the fact that like everyone's vibing, they're getting into it, they're just dancing, letting loose and stuff. And you meet a lot of cool people there because they're all into the same music that's playing there. You guys have similar tastes. And it's just a good time, you know, like it's great to just dance. And like when I went to one of the Daft Punk tributes, I met 2 mega fans of Daft Punk, and I was wearing like my Daft Punk shirt, my Interstellar pins, stuff like that, and we were just like, hey, cool shirt, thank you, cool pins, sick, what's your favorite song? And it's just like, it's so cool to meet people like that. Yeah, we just clicked, we just vibed. My least favorite parts of those things is I guess my feet hurting after. Yeah, when I went to one of them, I bought like a VIP ticket just to get like, I don't know, I didn't even know what came in the VIP thing. I was just like, oh, Daft Punk VIP, sign me up.
Oh yeah.
And I got a super cool lanyard, but I was standing the whole 3 hours, like in heel boots. So my feet were dying at the end of the day. That
has
to be the only thing. Yeah, the only thing that I did not like about the night.
Oh my goodness. You know, I'll tell you what, I've never been to an EDM festival, but like a personal one I want to go to, it's called Tomorrowland. And I would fight people to go do a Tomorrowland run, because that would be so good. I love that kind of music, and I'd party so hard with that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, bro. I mean, I've never been to a EDM music festival or rave.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because I don't know, I didn't know what was like in those. Like I've never been properly introduced. I knew you listen to music, but I also had like a lot of people tell me different things.
Yeah.
So I never went. But I would like to go to one too, because one just passed called I think it was like Nocturnal, and Deadmau5 was there. I was so sad I missed him, dude. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, next one that pops up, if there's like a good lineup, because I know Miku was invited to one of them, or I think that was just Coachella. But if there's a good lineup, I'm going 100%. I'll make a costume and everything. I'll be like the most glowy person there. Yeah.
That'd be so much fun, honestly. Like, I think I think it's just kind of fun because, like, you know, it's a situation where we live in such a fun day and age where we can connect with people who are just complete absolute strangers out of nowhere because, oh my god, you like doing this too? Hell yeah. And you just make like a free temporary friend, and it just makes the weekend so much better, you know, or the event itself so much fun. Like, I remember my wife, she's a diehard 21 Pilots fan, and she spent 14 hours in line to a ticket, to a booth, or to a concert, I mean. And she stayed there for 14 hours to get front row seats to get to the barricade. And
wow,
she connected with so many people.
Wow, hey, commitment. We love it.
I couldn't do it. Like, to me, standing in line for a concert, I would probably lose my gosh damn mind. But you know what? That's to each their own, you know? I couldn't do it.
No, yeah, that's the worst part. You gotta wear comfortable shoes.
Comfortable shoes, sleeping bags, and just little cracks.
Yeah.
But those cracks in sport mode.
Water.
Oh yeah.
Sport mode. In case you need to run from the crowd, bro.
Exactly. So we have one final question here from our Discord people, and we people asking if, since you are a robot, what kind of oil do you think you would drink?
Oh, what I think I would drink if I did drink some?
Olive oil.
Oh yeah, that premium stuff, extra virgin. If I were to drink like some kind of motor oil, I mean, I don't think I would drink oil because, I mean, you don't really feed your speakers oil, so.
That's true.
But if I did,
just that.
You know
what?
I cook a lot with olive oil.
There we go.
We'll say olive oil.
Hell yeah.
I use that the most.
I would drink. If as a robot, I would have to drink that the type of like coolant where you could basically submerge your computers in all coolant, and basically your computer becomes underwater. Well, quote unquote underwater.
Gotcha.
Just absolute insanity.
All right. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? We'll change it to 98% isotope alcohol, because you could douse your motherboard in that and it'll be dry.
Oh, that's funny. I love it. Hell yeah. But
yes.
Yeah, Digi, so like I said, it's like one of the biggest reasons why I loved being able to like have you as a guest in the show is because, like I said, I believe I've been seeing you pushing for a lot of like really big events and like being really involved in the content creation space, and you know, just outright and firmly, I just want to say, like, I just want to commend you on your current efforts and your current goals as a streamer.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
So what I would love to know, I asked this to every guest here today. Digi, do you consider yourself as a hobbyist streamer or a full-time streamer? Hobbyist streamer meaning you're mostly doing the stream just to stream, and you're not really aiming to do content creation outside of that.
Okay. Well, if I'm being honest, I did start out as a hobbyist streamer because first off, this is my first time ever creating content. I never had any prior experience doing it. And then when I even found out about Vtubers, it was not more than like 2 years ago that I actually heard about like what a Vtuber was. And I was like, you know what? I told this story on stream before, but I was like, you know what? It'd be really cool to be one after I looked into it and found out what they were and stuff and was introduced.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I've never tried streaming, but I was told I have a personality that you can continue to interact with and not get instantly bored from.
Yeah.
So after hearing that, yeah, after hearing that, like, I was like, you know what? I'm a pretty social person. I really like talking to people. I'll try out streaming. How bad could it be?
Yeah.
I mean, the worst that I might have to face is talking to myself, which it's easy, you know, you could just come up with certain topics for me. So I started it, and it was a great hobby, and it made me want to do it more.
Yeah.
But then I started looking into, like, I guess the deeper parts of VTubing, like the career side, the business side, the creative side of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you know, it's not just streaming. Coming from someone like who just started last year, I'm like, it's not just streaming that you could put into this. You could put in. There's people that stream their jobs like you. There's people that stream music. They stream like their hobbies, doing streaming as a hobby, like drawing.
Yeah.
And then there's people who actually, like, they're part of agencies, they work for these companies, and they do this as a job. So I'm like, dang, there's so much that goes into this. Like, I would love to look into it more, because who wouldn't want to stream their job or, like, be a VTuber full-time and get paid for it, you know?
Oh, yeah. So,
yeah.
So,
and
like,
I'm like, that sounds great.
Oh, 100%. So I would assume that in that case, like, you would consider yourself to be someone who would like to, at one point, make content creation your full-time thing?
You know what? Yeah, that would be a really cool step.
Yeah.
If I were to be able to take it, I would love to actually do that, because, like I said, it's like you're getting paid essentially to play games, to have fun. And while I probably would never give up my day job, I would try to do this, like, as much as I can if I were to be put in that full-time position as a streamer. Because, like, when I took a deep dive into it, I was like, you know, I thought to myself, like, I do love doing this as a hobby, but it would be great to actually get into the business, to the career side of it. And yeah, it would be a super cool thing if I could. So I opened myself up to, like, exploring possibly one day joining either an agency or a group or stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, as much as it's fun being indie, as someone who really benefits from structure, I definitely think things like that would help someone like me, because I do need structure in my life.
Yeah.
Because it's just nice to be organized, you know?
Oh, 100%. And so what's actually really nice to hear about that is, like, that's the one thing I think, like, a lot of people has. I think what's funny is a lot of people who are trying to be full-time content creators don't understand the necessity and, above all else, the requirements of structure. Because I have had, up until the point we recorded this episode, I've had the opportunity to have a lot of really deep conversations with full-time content creators, including various YouTube partners. And I've had the opportunity to learn a lot from them directly about what the biggest difference is, especially when it comes to, like, you know, how you can tell analytically if you're on the right structure and all on the right path. Like, for example, for myself, I have changed a lot of, like, how I've been trying to do content creation and streaming, for example, on YouTube. And this week alone, I've had more interactions and more watch hours in the past 4 days on YouTube than I've had the past 3 months combined.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
After I've talked with these streamers and content creators. And today's silver lining, for those who do not know, is we're talking about the ability and the desire to understand what happens when your numbers aren't moving, and why it's important to keep creating and keep understanding. Because in the world of content creation, it's extremely difficult to look at your numbers, realize they're not doing good, and keep going. It's extremely difficult. And one of the biggest things is that, like, I think what's really fun is content creation and analytics go hand in hand. And when I talked with some content creators very recently about what this whole structure problem is, there's a, let me see, have you ever heard of this statement before? The numbers don't matter, keep streaming what you want, and something will eventually happen.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yes. Now here's the part where this might become a little bit of a fun back and forth. When I talked to a bunch of various content creators, especially people, they informed me that to a point, That statement is true, but it's mostly false. Because the reason is because sometimes we as creators have this desire to stream things that nobody is asking of or nobody has relevant desire to learn about or find. For example, if we're playing something that has never been talked about in over 20 plus years, your niche group of discoverability is going to be super finite and small. Whereas if you do follow trends and follow things that have relevance in the general community, content creators are going to grow, especially financially. Case in point, some recent games that have been coming out. You know, we've got Mecha Break, we've got Lies of P, Grounded 2 is coming out at the time of this recording. Like, people who are making content creation based on games that people are talking about / have relevance find better success analytically. And on top of that too, I also learned a lot about how, you know, the most controversial thing that I talked about with these creators was whether or not to associate with purely hobbyist streamers when you yourself as a content creator are trying to push and be more full-time. And what and kind of deep dive into the statement basically is, back when Streaming University happened with Kai Cenat, there was a section where they talked about how, you know, you have to surround yourself with people who are motivated and are putting in the effort that they are trying to grow as creators. And when I talked about this just last week with some partner streamers, they agree with that whole %, because the hard part is that hobbyists in most cases are people who, from most cases, they only choose to stream, and unfortunately they blame the system that they're not growing because all they do is stream and they're not able to grow with shorts, or they're not willing to keep going. Because like I, for example, I have been streaming for over 7 years, and I have only just recently finally had a very recent uptick in my YouTube interactions, which has allowed me to be very involved, by the way. And what happened is, like, you know, I've learned that there's a lot more things that I can do as a creator that can, you know, provide actual growth in analytics, because it's not just the game, sometimes it's just straight up quality. Yeah. So, Digi, my first question I want to ask of you here today, in regards to today's topic, is when you, Digi, are getting live and getting ready to, or even uploading a video, what do you think personally keeps you from hitting the upload or the going live button when you mentally know your numbers are not going to potentially change much?
So me personally, what would prevent me from doing it would be a couple of things. So one, I told you about this a while ago, and it was me suffering from just being pure lazy. And that came from like, oh, the root problem is this the quality people are looking for? And when I think about it, I'm like, you know, the amount of effort I put into my shorts is very minimal, because me personally, I don't have that like experience or that knowledge of how to make a really good short. Now, I figured I could study the algorithm a bit, so I did, but one of them boils down to is just me being lazy, because I'm like, hey, they're used to like flashy thumbnails and like some subtitles and sound effects, stuff that I don't use. So there's a couple of shorts that I did post that I was like, you know, before I did post it, I was like, is this gonna be any good? And I was like, you know what, just do it, because I remember you're the one who told me like, just do it, you know. And then I'm like, I'll post it, I'll just do it, right? And those two shorts got like 1.3k views, and I was like, oh, all I did was edit a PNG of Homer or something in there. So I gotta say, that's gotta be one thing that would prevent me from actually doing it, is just, you gotta get over that like idea of, what if people don't want to see it? Because you never know. Like, I didn't think anyone would care about that short until I saw 1.3k, and And then I was like, well, you know what? I was proven wrong. So maybe I should just stop letting that be the reason that I got lazy. Like, you know, I'm just not going to do it because I don't think people want to see it. So I don't feel up to it.
Exactly.
You just kind of have to overcome that in your own way. And the second thing, as far as stream goes, because there has been streams or games that I've been thinking of streaming that I'm like, you know, maybe I shouldn't because, I don't know, it's not going to get the traction I want.
Mm-hmm.
Because as someone who likes to find games that people haven't heard of, that is a very real possibility that people won't tune in because they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
You know, their interest isn't there because, you know, maybe they just don't know about it. So you got to find a way to get their interest. But what stopped me in those moments is, you know, there's other people that are playing maybe a better game than this, a funnier game at the same time or something, and it's just gonna trump me because I'm just a tiny streamer, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not that interesting compared to like Zentreya.
Sure.
But what I do to overcome that basically is I have this mindset that every streamer has an audience out there for them. There's always going to be some type of streamer for everyone in the world. And you never know. You'll never know unless you hit go live. So I hit go live, and then whoever comes in, that's the streamer they want to watch. That's the streamer they want to support that day. It doesn't matter like what you're playing, what you're doing. Because at first, you know, they come in because they're interested in the game. But depending on how you are, they'll stay for you at the end of the day. So it's kind of like a hook, line, sinker in a way.
Oh, yeah.
And then seeing people come in is enough motivation for me to just do it, you know, or at least, you know, like go through with it. Stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, like we have over here, Fakin mentioning, like, eventually there's a mile point that you're big enough for your own momentum to carry you forward. And that statement alone has a lot of value and a lot of truth to it, because one of the biggest things that we need to remember is that there comes a point in every content creator's life where they can literally go live on anything, and then people will show up and say, hey, yo, what's good? And so I've been experimenting a lot when it comes to like, what can I do to hopefully get more eyes on me? Because for years, and I'm not even like, and analytically, for years on YouTube, for example, all of my YouTube vertical shorts were no more than capping out around 50 views after 5 to 6 hours of streaming on YouTube. Meaning during that whole time, only 56 people found my YouTube shorts. But then, as of recently, after taking some time to understand a very important thing that we're going to talk about here later a bit, is I changed proper settings and how I presented my content. And now, last night, for example, I had 2,000 people visit my stream yesterday. And
let's go, Tron Bro.
And what's funny is I did nothing different in how I did titles, nothing different on my thumbnails. And all I literally did was change how my bitrate is and the visual aesthetics of streaming. Because one of the biggest things that I feel like a lot of content creators do is the fact that, like, yes, when we go live, we have the content, but if you're a person who has never seen that person in before, never had any purpose or desire to watch somebody, one of the first things that we look at is the quality of the content. And one thing I learned of is bitrate. Bitrate is the biggest thing that separates a good stream from a blurry mess to a crispy, clean content video. So, like, for example, due to my personal internet at the time, I was only streaming at 3,000 to 4,000 bit rate on my Twitch streams, for example. And I thought that was quote unquote very good. The problem is when I would go to render out shorts from that stream, it would become blurry, because what a lot of people don't talk about analytically is that your shorts are suffering because your videos are blurry, or they don't have full resolution. Because, for example, if you put a thing out on Twitch and you have it at 4,000 bitrate, which already isn't a lot, when you convert it into other social media platforms or even other websites, they compress it, reducing the quality even further. And what I noticed about this is that I did a Mecha Break clip one day, and on my personal monitor, when I was on stream, it was fine. It looked really good. But when I made a short about it, I couldn't even read the enemy's nameplate when I was doing a 1v1 against a Falcon on Mecha Break. That's how blurry it was.
Shoot.
And I thought to myself, that makes no sense. It said it's 1080p. So then I went to Twitter, talked about it with a YouTube partner, and they told me outright, your bitrate's the problem. Because, and then here's all I did. All I did was I went from a 4K bitrate to 9K bitrate and record locally. That is a big thing as well, because I'm recording locally at 40,000 bitrate.
Oh my, that sounds like a lot.
It is a lot. And that not a lot of internet's gonna be able to support that. But here's the thing. Ever since I've done that switch up to where I've changed my streams from a 4K to 9K, I've had exponentially more people watch and hang out on the streams just because the quality is better. Case in point, ever since I've changed my quality up 4 days ago, I've earned over 100 subscribers in 4 days.
Nice.
All because of bitrate changes. And one of the biggest things that we're going to talk about is like, analytically, if something's not working, you need to look into your streams and think, what can I change to make it visibly better?
Oh yeah, that's a big thing. So if I had to say, like, if I had to bring that up to a streamer, I'd present the idea of food, right? So when you're first showing someone a new food, the first thing they eat with is their eyes. Does it look pretty? Does it look good? Does it look edible? Does it look like something I would like? And if it's a yes, then the next would be like smell. And in streaming case, it would be, I guess, audio. Yeah. Like, does it sound good? Is it crisp? Is it clear? And then you go and take a bite. You know, if you like both those things in the beginning, then you're more willing to take a bite. So in the case of streaming, if it looks and sounds good, you're willing to give it more of a try than if it looks blurry or sounds very choppy. Yeah. So I definitely think that is a big key in having a successful beginning, is having like just the best equipment you can get. What sucks is like there's sometimes gonna be scenarios where people can't afford it because things are really expensive. Exactly. As advanced as they are really expensive. So in that case, I would just say, you know what, even if you have like a potato computer, do what you can with it, and then make changes later if you can, you know, because it's better to just do it than to not do it at all because you have like a poor setup. Yeah. So I honestly would recommend they would just do it anyway, even if it does sound choppy, it does look blurry or whatever. You're still doing it, you're still trying it out. Oh yeah. You know, I wouldn't want that to stop me if that were my case, because if it's something I really want to do, I would kind of just deal with it if that's the case. Oh yeah. You know? And what's really nice is like there are ways to counteract the situation, because many of us and many people who are in my community are kind of in the same boat as me, where we don't have many viewerships and we don't have many things that happen in terms of like, you know, of big events happening on stream. And in my opinion, you know, if I had to invest more on strong PC, strong internet, or aesthetics, I would dedicate my life to strong internet first, because stronger internet means I can upload better quality videos. Better quality videos mean nicer things. And again, I think another thing that I find is oftentimes a problem with a lot of content creators is the fact that we tell them why their content, respectfully, is not doing as good, but they take it as okay, thanks, and then they don't do anything different for years down the line, and they wonder why nothing's changing. And because like when I heard about all this advice I got from the YouTube partners that I've talked to, I told myself I understand why my content's not doing good, and and it's important to take the steps that we need in order to better, you know, make our analytics. Because for example, like I said, I've been streaming for 7 years, but yet up until this week, I haven't had watch hours to reflect the effort that I've been putting into a lot of my YouTube videos. And you know, it's not even necessarily like the algorithm's loving us.
It's just the quality is fine, is there. The quality needs to be there. Like Digi, like when I watch your streams, for example, one of the first things that always pops up right off the get-go is the sheer vibrance of your model, your overlays, and even like your starting soon screen. Like it's so much more visibly bright. And what I think you have that not many other streamers have, especially at our size, is you have a dedicated like family almost of people who are almost always in your stream, and that's a blessing in its own right, because that having that connection with other people is such an important like situation. Because like for you, Digi, I think you're in a really good spot as content, because you have, like I said, you have a lot of people that show up to your streams very frequently. You know, you have a lot of people who show up every stream. You have just like your crew.
Yeah, and that I'm extremely thankful for always until the end. And I will say, it's a learning experience. You know, obviously nobody starts out with that, but it's just like how the big Vtubers are, right? They started out as nobody. They worked hard for it, grinded to the top. Now, granted, it did take a while, because hard work does take a while, but through that time, even if you're playing like a popular game, like that doesn't guarantee viewers or success because someone bigger is going to be playing it. It's you bring in the audience and then they stay for you. You know, you find a way to keep them around with yourself.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, they'll come to wherever you're going because they want to see you and not care so much about the game. So I definitely think like the people are like the backbone, and earning and gaining like that audience and that trust and that care is very beneficial. And I'm very happy to say that I do have a great community, and I also think you have a great community too. Like you've got people who are supporting you 100%, especially with this new shift you're doing in your content. Like even more so, they're still back behind you, supporting you 100%. Whether that was like you before and now you after, like they're loyal to you, and they'll continue to be there for you no matter how much you change. So I definitely think it's a learning experience. You know, we all go through it, and the fact that you found out like your complete niche, like how you're doing things that you're doing to make changes, it's definitely like a learning experience that everyone has to go through, you know, whether it be like a couple months, a couple years until you figure it out. It's nice. It makes you like a better streamer at the end of the day, you know?
And so like,
yeah.
yeah, and you know, the people outside the inner circles, like it's always important to have cheerleaders. In for lack of better words, I call chat cheerleaders sometimes, because like, you know, they're here, they're cheering us. They don't care how we could stream the game Wall Paint Drying Simulator, real game by the way, and they'll be there.
No way.
It literally is just a game where you're just like, yes, paint. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about too is like, you know, so Digi, do you believe just first off, do you have a network of people just in general, like viewers, mentors, and content creators you can ping pong off of? Do you believe you have a network?
Yeah, I'd like to believe I do.
Yeah. So the reason why I talk about the network of people, is because I think in this day and age, what's really important is to have something different, something a little bit more unique and full than just having people who are going to say, don't worry, Digi, nothing you make is ever bad. I think it's important to have people in the community who are willing and able to give you constructive criticism, to tell you why your content needs to improve. Because the reason why I've had a fire lit under myself recently, and I have been looking at everything that I do in a more not necessarily microscopic, but I've been looking at things in a more intensive way, because I even told my editor this the other day. I'm like, I need you to look at this as if you are a viewer, not as if you're my friend. Because to have people who are willing to tell you, hey, Digi, that short you did is really cool, but it came out a bit blurry even at maximum quality. Or, hey, I think the pacing was wrong. Like, taking more time to look at the composition of our content is such an important thing to help with the analytics, because, you know, just it's something as simple as the video took 5 seconds to do a punchline, or there was no movement in the short, therefore it looked boring.
Yeah.
I think we need to have people who are really good at telling us how we can improve without just saying outright in a really mean way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Constructive criticism is always helpful. And like, it's nothing to be embarrassed about, because at the end of the day, no matter what you're doing, you're always going to be improving, you know? And it same goes for like the bigger VTubers. Yeah, they're at the top, but at the same time, they're still trying to find things to do to improve their stream, to make it even better for their viewers, to make them happy. And it's just a never ending thing, you know? Like, for example, I did an art stream not too long ago. I was doing a commission for someone, and it was a fox holding a bow and arrow. It was like a Robin Hood fox. Yeah. And the way that he was holding the arrow, I drew it out like not accurate to like how people would actually hold an arrow. And some of the people in the chat were like, hey, it looks good, but that's actually not how someone holds an arrow. So I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. Let me know how. Like, let me know how to fix it. Where does the arrow go? Where does the bow, like how do they hold the bow? And they were telling me, oh yeah, like the arrow goes behind the finger, stuff like that. There's supposed to be feathers. And this is all on stream too, like live on stream. And I'm like, you know what, for sure. And one thing I like to say on stream is like, I like to keep it 100% real and not like this, I think I know what I'm doing type thing. Cause I don't like, I'll say that every day. Like, I 100% don't know everything that I'm doing. And at the same time, like, I'm not going to try to pretend like I know, because it's going to be very obvious once I make that mistake that I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. So it's just another way to, like, connect and, you know, like, what's that word? It's another way to connect and just feel like your audience and you are like, you know, actual real people, instead of it being like this person on the computer, this like fake person on the computer talking to an audience, you know, like a performer even. And I just like feeling like I want people to know that I still am a real person behind Digi at the end of the day. I'm still, you know, gonna make mistakes. I'm not perfect. And it's just another way to connect with people. Like, hey, I'm being real, you're being real. You know, there's no games, there's no like fantasy with me. Like, I know I'm not good at everything. I know I'm not good at even the things that I love doing. And it's great to have constructive criticism, especially when it's done politely, because then, you know, like, those people want you to succeed. Yes. Like, they're not telling you to be mean. They want you to do better. They want to see you do better. And they want you to feel like you're doing better and see the results of you doing better. So I 100% welcome it. It's like very essential, especially if I want to get bigger, if I want to create better stuff. Yeah, it's essential to hear those things, you know?
And I think it's really good to recognize that, because again, you know, at the end of the day, the first step in anything in that is a content creator recognizing their content needs to be improved, but they need an outside source to do that. Obviously, like with friends, it's really hard to, you know, separate that line between, hey, I'm your bro, but here's how I think about your video. And, you know, I think the question I want to kind of send you that way in regards to this is like, you know, with everything you do, Digi, like even with this, for quote unquote smaller numbers, how do you recognize like the impact or the connection that you've been able to make with your audience with what you've done thus far as a creator?
I guess it's like, well, I've been told that I'm a creative individual, and I like to believe that I am. And just the drive to do bigger and better stuff. Like, I want to do things that like the bigger VTubers do, despite not being their numbers. And the way I could use that would be like, the way I could connect with people on, despite being smaller, is like, hey, it's not just someone who's super famous that could do this. Anyone could. Like, someone just barely starting out streaming, you could do whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not limited to numbers. I want to go and take it as far as I can. I want to do it. I want to have fun with it. I don't want it to be like, oh, I gotta wait till I'm like, you know, 200K up there. I want to be able to connect with like the audience I can now. And that's why I kind of appreciate being smaller and growing gradually, because I'm enjoying the smallness of being able to talk to the chat without it bustling, without all the chat numbers getting too high or all the messages flowing away and I can't see it anymore. And to me, to talk to people who are in the chat makes it more personable, because like when you talk to someone, to be responded to is like that extra level of, oh, you know, they're not so unreachable after all. Like, I don't want to be unapproachable. I don't want to be one of those people who are like, they talk to stream, right? But like, that's the only time ever that you're going to hear their voice, that you're going to see like any form of response from them. And it's like, that's why I like commenting. I like commenting on videos. I like commenting on other people's things. I mean, even if I get DMs, like, as long as they're respectful, I'm gonna respond, you know, because I'm not some big shot, you know. I don't have that, like, I don't have that thing where like, oh, you know, she's unapproachable. I don't want that, you know. And I also think like, if you mix that with still going above and beyond, it makes it like, I don't know, in my mind it's like a super streamer, you know, because you're doing big things, but you're also small enough and you're humble enough to like interact with this stuff. And even if I wasn't small, like even if I wasn't how much am I at, 989 or whatever, even if I wasn't at that, I still want to be like relatable and approachable still. Like, I still want people to be like, oh, you know, that's just Digi, you know. It's not like someone, oh my gosh, that's Digi, I could never talk to her, I could never approach her, I'm too scared to like ask her a question. You know, she's doing all these big things. Like, I don't know, I kind of want to keep the momentum that I have now, where like I still am aiming for the stars, but I still want to keep that humbleness of being like personal, like being kind of like a personal friend. If that makes any sense.
For sure. Because, and you know, I think it's one of those situations where like there will come a point where our growth and our change in environment will cause people to be very afraid of us, and or, you know, the fear of burden. And it's kind of, I feel like that's kind of a situation with like larger creators too. Like, you know, for lack of better examples, like, you know, I imagine there are people like Zentreya who would like to have people approach them respectfully with an actual, you know, genuine bona fide interest in collaborations. But of course, when it comes to like the responsibilities of being a larger creator, it gets really hard, because, you know, and it's always a whole, oh, they're here, they're just mooching off of us, they're mooching off the whatever. And I don't think it's necessarily like everyone's a mooching, but there are good people in there who want to be a part of the experience, the drive, I guess, you know. And
I totally get that.
Yeah, and our audience, we do the best we can to, for lack of a better term, serve our audience and give them proper entertainment. And like, for me, Digi, I think what's really nice is that like we have moments, we have times where our audience, no matter how big or small, reminds us why we create. And I want to take a moment for us to kind of like, you know, think back about like what, like for you, Digi, have you ever had a moment where your audience or particular members of your audience reminded you why you create? Like someone on stream said something to you one day that just hit you in the core and you realize, I made that person's day. I made that difference for somebody.
Oh yes, I remember 100%. I actually cried. So basically the story was I was doing an art stream, and you know, I've had people come in saying hi, and I love when people just stop in and say hi, hang out for a bit, just check in how everything's doing. And I love talking to them. I love seeing how their day's going. And it wasn't until a couple of those people started donating subs. And with the subs, they had the message, "Hey Digi, I just want to let you know, thank you for creating and being here, because you're someone that I see myself watching and lurking as much as I can. You're someone who I feel like I can come by, say hi, and feel at home. And you're someone who is very welcoming, inviting, warm, stuff like that."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Thank you so much for just making the stuff that you do. Thank you for doing the art, the games, and just being yourself. Never change." And yeah, it wasn't until that message that I was like, guys, like I cried, and it was kind of embarrassing, you know, never cried on stream before, but yeah, it hit me in the heart. I was like, you know what? You never really stop to realize, hey, maybe your stuff has impacted someone, or maybe your stuff, no matter how small you think it was or how irrelevant you think it was, maybe it actually made someone's day.
Oh yeah.
You won't know until someone tells you, you know, and when they do tell you, it's like a reality check. Like, I'm actually creating stuff that people enjoy. And at the end of the day, that's what I wanted. You know, that's what I wanted from the beginning. I wanted to have fun, and I wanted people to have fun with me. So when I get confirmation that that's happening, that people are having fun, that I'm having fun because, you know, whatever I'm doing is great, and they're enjoying seeing me enjoy it, or they're enjoying the actual thing that I'm doing. It's amazing. It's a great feeling, and I just couldn't help but cry, because it was like a confirmation of the goal that I strive to complete, and I continue to chase that goal, just continuing to make people happy. And I feel at the end of the day, like, a lot of us streamers have that same goal. You know, we want to create to make people happy. We want to create to make people feel safe when they come to our community. Give them stuff for like a pastime. And when you get that confirmation of, oh, you know, we got great content, we got a good streamer, it's just great, you know, you're doing a great job, then it really motivates you to keep going. And then you're thinking like, man, this goal, it hit, you know? And I just want to continue hitting this goal. I want to keep feeling this happiness. I want to keep giving these people like content they enjoy. So yeah, I'd have to say it was that moment.
Yeah. And, you know, by all means, like, I think like one of the biggest things we have to remember is that, like, as creators, you know, there comes a point where we have to make the decision of, are we going to be, you know, hobbyists in respect of just streaming to stream, whatever happens, and then are we wanting to, you know, take a dive, like lean in, hat backwards, and just theme song starts blaring, and you start like, you know, taking things in a more serious manner. And so I want you to kind of like think of this next part as like a fancy what if question. For you as a streamer and what you've experienced, what do you think is your most, what would you want as your comfort number of people like actively in the stream? Like if you could control and have this number of people on stream every time, no questions asked, and it's both financially stable but also entertaining for you, what would that number be?
Well, I'd have to say it would be between 20 to 30.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because on average I hit about 14, and the highest usually, if I do get up there, would be 28.
Nice.
Now, after it passes those numbers, because when I had my re-debut, it went up to like 50. I started getting overwhelmed. And it's because like I'm a person who likes to see gradual increase, especially if it comes to viewers, because one of my biggest fears, I'm not gonna lie, is to get like, I don't know, a sudden spike or a raid of like upwards of hundreds of people, you know, because I know if I saw that, I would immediately shut down, because you got so many new eyes on you, you got so many people that you have to impress in that one moment just to keep them staying. And if you don't, you know that they're just gonna dip. Like they're gonna give you maybe about 5 seconds to give you to give them a nice like first time impression, and if you miss that, then they're all gone.
Oh yeah.
So I like seeing gradual increase in numbers because it's like the gradual increase upwards means you get people who come and stay and continue to come back, and then you get people who are interested in why your numbers are so high. So they'll see maybe like I don't know, like 30, 40, and like, oh, okay, if they have this amount of people watching them, they must have something very interesting. And that's how you get more. Like, they'll come in, they'll see the game you're playing, they'll see how you are, and then if they like you, they'll stay. So then it gradually just gets bigger.
Yeah.
Depending on like you are as a person, like how you can deal with stuff like that. That's personally how I would want to deal with it. And around those numbers is probably like the extent that I'm comfortable with right now. And I know the longer I do it, I'll probably be able to handle more numbers. But as it is now, I would say between 20, 30 people concurrent would be ideal.
So
yeah.
So like in everything that you've been seeing so far, have you ever gone through what I like to say is a content or a streamer dry spell, where basically it's just nothing happening, positive or negative, it's just plateaued for a while? Have you gone through that?
Oh yeah, like as far as following or watching or
just content creation in general, like basically for like a better, not necessarily a burnout, but a moment in your content creation where it's just nothing new is happening, like it's a lull.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've experienced that yet.
Great.
I know I have, like, during a stream, like, you know, sometimes you'll stream and then like the chat dies down. Sometimes it's just a day where you don't have a lot to say, and then like me personally, I'm someone who likes to continue talking. Like, I don't like having dead air. It doesn't feel right to me, and it's gotten to the point where I have stream PTSD in my dreams. Like, I'll be asleep and I'm dreaming that I'm streaming, and me sleeping is in my dream me being quiet. God. So I'm talking out loud while I'm sleeping, right? And I've woken myself up like a bunch of times doing that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gotten to that point. Yeah, I'm like, it's gotten to that point where I'm dreaming this. So yeah, it's only ever been like streams where, say I do an art stream, the chat starts dying down. I start running out of, stop running on things to say. So I start running out of content to talk about, and then it's just silence, you know? And then you're like, this is kind of awkward. So you try to fish for things to talk about. I've experienced that kind of plateau in like a stream, but I've never experienced like days and content and stuff like that plateau. So luckily I've not run into that yet, and I hope I don't. But I keep trying to find things to prevent that, like what games should I play? What things should I draw? What people I should collab with, you know, to keep that from happening. Because there's so many ways you could prevent it, you know? There's so many ways, like, it doesn't have to happen. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it could too. But there's just so many things you could fill that with, you know? It doesn't have to happen.
Yeah, because I went through about a year and a half of that myself. And for me, what happened was, so this is around 2021, 2020-ish or so. And this is around the time I started trying to think about getting into VTubing. I was a face cam streamer, and I was, you know, not really liking how I was making content, and I wasn't really understanding like how to be a creator. And that was like when it kind of started, and nothing new was happening, nothing positive or negative. But then I became my first version of my model, which I don't show anymore because it's a bad version. And for about a year, for about a solid year, I think I earned like 10 followers in an entire year. I didn't do YouTube at the time. TikTok, I didn't really do gaming TikToks. I kind of did what everyone else was doing at the time, which was just like lip sync TikToks and weird skits. But like for a solid year, I had nothing, and no matter how hard I try, couldn't get out of that rut. And the scary thing about it is, like, you know, the most common problem with analytic burnout is, you know, the desire to leave, to step away from content creation because of the burnout and just the analytical sadness. And it's terrifying to think that, because like I think many of us content creators invest time, money, and above all else effort to try to make something of ourselves. And so Digi, throughout your, if you could go into the future of however long you wish to keep doing content creation and streaming, what would you say is your personal end goal? Like what do you want your legacy as a creator to be when you're all said and done?
Personally, I want to be known as a variety streamer who streams their music career and has created albums, music, memories, stuff like that. Like, as someone who wants to mix their career with their VTubing journey, I do want to be known as a music producer, a happy-go-lucky streamer who likes to play games as well as stream their hobby. You know, like, I want to be known as someone who is very connectable, I guess. Is that a word? Like, yeah, connected. Like, you feel connected to. Like, oh, you never felt like she was out of reach. You know, she's someone who streamed big things, but she was never someone out of reach. Like, I want to be seen as humble as well. Like, oh, yeah, you know, she remained humble. Because one thing I am terrified of is I don't want, like, whatever amount of fame, if I get that in the future, to go to my head. And sometimes it does. Like, very little will it go to people's heads. And honestly, it happens. You know, you recognize that you're a big shot. You recognize that people like you, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to keep a humble mindset of, you know, I'm here because of this support I got. I'm here because of all the opportunities and all the people that believed in me. I didn't get here by myself. And I also want people to recognize me for my talents, you know, the ones that I showcase on stream, like the music, the games, you know, the streaming, stuff like that. So I just want people to remember me as, like, someone who didn't forget where they came from and what they started with. Yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah.
I love that too, because like I think a lot of times, like, a lot of content creators, I don't think look that far into the future, because I think every content creator for the most part thinks of going online, making a crap load of money, and then being a part of the 1%. But then it's like, you know, how do you want to be known as a creator? Do you want to be known as a creator who did some spicy content and did really positive things there? Do you want a creator who wants to be really a mentor, for example? Like, for me, my goal and hope when it comes to myself being said and done is, like, I would like to be seen as a mentor for some people. I would like to, you know, be able to redefine what it means to be a creator, especially in the VTuber space, if possible. And I think that it's always good to see creators have some degree of a future thought about how and what it is that they do on a day-to-day, because we live in a day and age in content creation where everyone is able to become a content creator, whether for good or bad purposes.
Yeah, and there's always, like, this uniqueness that everyone wants to be remembered by too. Like, there's so many people that play games, make music, you know, stream entirely, and it's like, because there's so many, it's hard to stand out now, because if you're not to the world, if you're not, like, different in any kind of way from everyone else, then you're gonna be hard to remember. And that's just, you know, common knowledge. Like, that's the reality, which sucks. Like, nobody wants to think about that, but that is a reality. Like, a lot of people want to be unique, and they want to be remembered uniquely apart from other streamers. Like, like, goodness sake, like, the reason why I chose my designs because I never saw anyone with, like, Android speaker design, you know. Like, I came up with the equalizer, I came up with, like, the power surge on the speaker. Like, I've never seen a speaker Android with a rainbow equalizer based on Daft Punk. Oh yeah. And that was my way of being like, I want to be unique, I want to be separated from, like, every other Android VTuber I've seen. Like, and it's not that they look bad. Like, no, they look beautiful, they look amazing. But there's this sense of like uniqueness you want to yourself that will make people be like, oh yeah, I know her. That's Digi. You know, she's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to be known that way. It's nice to hear that because you know, like you want to feel special. Everyone wants to feel special, and I'm no different. Like I do want to feel special. I want people to like know me for something that no one else has got, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like that's why so many streamers they go all into their avatar. They try to make it look as best as possible. They try to be unique with it, them and their content and stuff. And I definitely think that's a really good mindset to have, because with that you can explore your options. Like, what's something that nobody's done before, or what's something that very few people had done before.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I really like that kind of mindset for streamers.
Now, do you think that there is a harder challenge for VTubers specifically when it comes to trying to stand out in the content creation space?
Like compared to like face cam and all that?
Yeah.
For VTubers, I don't think it's hard. I mean, it's definitely harder compared to like 2015, 2020. Because that's when they were just starting out. So that was like a brand new concept to the world, you know?
Yeah.
It's harder now because there's so many VTubers now.
Yeah.
But I do think VTubing is still in its like early stages of mainstream. It's becoming more mainstream, definitely, but it's still in its like earlier stages. Like, you still have a chance to make your name. You still have a chance to like be set apart. And you still have a chance to like become a great streamer, a great VTuber streamer. And honestly, I could say the same for like normal face cam. Like, just because people have been doing it for years, it doesn't mean like people are gonna stop doing it because it's outdated. You know, there's always gonna be new streamers. There's always gonna be new content. There's always gonna be something new that someone's never seen. And it will be introduced throughout the years, you know?
Yeah.
So there's still things yet to be uncovered that you possibly could uncover and do yourself, you know? So I don't think it's hard at all for VTubers, but I do think there is still a level of work you need to put in regardless.
Yes.
Because the VTubers that started out, you know, they didn't have to work as hard because VTubing was new back then. Like, it was unheard of almost. And it was very interesting at first because, you know, there was nothing like it. So now that everybody wants to do it, now there's that extra layer of work that you have to put in to stand out, because unfortunately you can't just be a VTuber and get popular anymore. You do have to put in a good amount of work to be noticed.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's a good thing. I think putting in work and learning these experiences is definitely essential and beneficial, you know, to any streamer.
And you know, I think, and the reason why I talk about that, and you already said it too, is like there's becoming more and more VTubers as of lately, and I think that we go through these eras and phases where everyone and their mother wants to be the hottest and greatest thing. Like, I brought this up a couple times, I think in my last episode as well. There was a section where I learned that, I think it was Tim the Tatman that spoke about it, and he briefly spoke about the idea that supposedly gaming streams are on the drastic downhill in terms of what people are looking to watch nowadays, and IRL streams are becoming more popular. Now, Digi, in regards, do you think as a creator, would you change what you stream / how you streamed if you noticed that your analytics were taking a hit? Now, I ask this because this is a question that on one end, we can very simply say, no, if my current audience enjoys it, I'll maintain what I'm doing, people will come in. But then on the flip side perspective, for the people who are like, for example, trying to be bigger content creators and trying to, you know, earn and find more viewers and more people, they may say, yes, I would change just so that I can maintain my proper growth. How would you take it if you saw your analytics were changing because the meta, or at least the trying to think about how to reword this, would you change your content if your analytics were taking a hit?
Me personally, probably I would not change what I do, but I would change the approach on how I do it. Now the reason I say that is because, one, I started this out because I wanted to have fun with it. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't go into this hoping for a job at the end of it. I went into this because I wanted to explore the realm of streaming. I wanted to see how fun it was. And now that I'm in it, it's been very fun. And if I were to change that to something maybe other people would like, or what is hot and popping now, if I didn't like it, I'm not going to have fun with it. And then my audience will very quickly know. And
Exactly.
that'll lead to them leaving, you know, because I'd like to think a layer of them staying is seeing you have fun,
Yeah.
you know, with your own content. And I want to have fun with my stuff because it's going to be very obvious when I'm not having fun. And while numbers matter and they're nice to see, for me, I didn't start out thinking about that. Like, my main goal is to just have fun with it. And I feel like a lot of people lose that grasp of the fun elements when they start going into it, because it goes from having fun to starting to see what can bring in the most numbers. And it's something that I don't want to let go of, because without the fun aspect, then it's going to feel like
a job.
a grindy job, that you don't want to do, but you keep doing it because you like the results. But to do it means you got to suffer, you know? So me personally, I would not change what I do, like whether that be gaming, art, you know, watching stuff, making little edits, things like that. But I might introduce maybe learning new skills, you know, maybe how I do those gaming, art, etc. streams, you know, like how can I do these things and also make them more enjoyable, or bring people in who aren't interested in it, but how do I make them interested in it? Like, what can I do to entice people to come watch, you know? Or I could learn something new, you know? I love learning things, so maybe I could learn how to do in real life cooking streams, stuff like that. I like to cook. I've never done a cooking stream. Or, you know, showing off like in real life places that I go, that as long as I don't dox myself, you know, stuff like that. You know? And I don't recommend people change what they love, because once you lose the fun in it, then I feel like you lost most of the reason why you're doing what you're doing, you know?
Because
so that would be my answer.
Because I think like one of the biggest things is that when I talked to some of my recent YouTube partners, talking about like ways that we can, like, creators can better look at perspectives on how they can obtain better performing content creation, especially metrics on YouTube, for example, is they had suggested at the time to look at your content creation to an extent like a business. Now, that statement can, for a lot of you who might be hearing that, you may be like, no, if it's like a business, there's no value, there's no love, there's no whatever. But it's important to understand that, perfect example, in my IRL industry in graphic design, my industry is going through a massive overhaul in how we obtain article assets. That's how we obtain and make artwork in general. From a business standpoint, you have to look at what people / what individuals are interested in the art kind of content you're creating, in our case, streams. Because I think it's important to look at your streams if you're trying to go be serious, especially trying to, you know, make money and eventually be a bigger content creator. I think it's important to look at your content journey as a business by understanding, okay, I'm making content about this. How much relevance is this current venture doing? Because I do firmly believe that not every game is worth a content creation grind of. For example, like one of the biggest mistakes that I personally did a lot of when I was first trying to do streams was I made Let's Play videos on YouTube of video games that I liked, but they were like after 10 episodes, next to no effort or next to no, you know, analytical growth, because it wasn't receiving results, let alone eyeballs on it. And in a way, I burned, like I did a Subnautica playthrough when I very first started VTubing. I did 30 episodes of that whole series, and not a single episode got above like 15 views, barely above 15 views. So like in my brain, I burned that much time trying to make that content happen, but I wasn't noticing that the relevancy wasn't there. But also, in fairness at the time too, my quality of video was not nearly as good as it's getting to now. And the reason why I think I always want to try to be very preface this on that this is an opinion or this is a different perspective is that I think that a lot of smaller content creators are, in a sense, hyper defensive when you tell them the way they're doing something is not right or it's not as efficient for the goal they're trying to achieve, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah. I've seen that too. And you're right. You're right. Sometimes it's hard for people to hear the truth, but the reality is sometimes the truth hurts.
It does. And this kind of comes back to my statement earlier about how it's very important to understand the difference between a hobbyist streamer and a full-time content creator. Because again, a hobbyist content creator, with respect, of course, is somebody who sole form of streaming content is just being live on a platform. Like that is as far as their content creation goes. And you know what? Sometimes that's all you need. There are people who do get famous still from just one good Twitch stream / maybe one clip, because it all takes is just one good moment to go viral, to be seen by a bunch of people. And that's all. And we love that. We got to appreciate the fact that that's sometimes all that we have to do.
Yeah.
And
it just depends on the person.
It does, you know, and the mental strain of not being honest with yourself, especially in the world of content creation, is it's heartbreaking, because you have all these content creators that I see who are just leaving the space because they are not getting the views they want, the interactions they think they deserve. And so like, do you think that there is a, let me think of these words here carefully, because this could be taken in a lot of ways. Do you think, Digi, there's a point in a content creator's life where they should step back and, for lack of better terms, quit?
Well, I guess it honestly depends on like the scenario, you know. I feel like the only scenario that would call for that is if, you know, you have no other choice, like maybe your family needs you more, or maybe someone passed away and you got to take care of them. I feel like that's the only time I would ever say, hey, have you ever considered about just stopping, quitting? Because not because, you know, you're not good at what you do, it's because your life does not have the time or space for that, you know, and the priorities trump that. If it comes to someone trying their best and they've done all they could do, I would never say that to someone, because there's always something you can improve on, or there's always something you're missing.
Yeah.
Or there's always something that someone doesn't know about. Like maybe that's something they need, something that could benefit them. There's always going to be something to improve your stream, improve your streaming career, and something to work on to make it better. Maybe not like where you want it to be, but it'll definitely make it better. So I would never tell someone that unless like, yeah, their life calls for it and they're not thinking of that possibility. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would tell them. Like, you know, only stop is if your life calls for it, you know, like in real life stuff.
Because like the reason why I brought that question up is because, you know, with just like with VTuber models and VTubing in general, as time goes on, the requirement, or at least the general expectation of content creators changes drastically very frequently. Because if we think about it like this, a lot of times the tech evolves faster than the creators can keep up with. Case in point.
Oh yeah.
If you are a streamer who is using a computer and you're using like a 10,000 series graphics card on a computer, you can most likely do what you gotta do, but there comes a point in time where some things are outpacing you and you either need to adjust your approach or you need to focus on different things to allow for proper engagement. Because the reason why I talk about that is I agree with you 100%. I don't think people should be told to quit. I think that should be always a personal decision to the creator, as long as they understand that the avenues that they have done are not working. I do firmly believe you should tell someone to take a break or invest in something differently until this improves, because again, we live in a day and age right now, you can get famous from an iPhone selfie, and that's all you need. You can literally go, like, it's one of those things where, you know, streaming was at the time the only way you can get internet famous. And then you had the occasional YouTube video where someone was just laughing at you enough to where they shared it. Now everyone can be famous just off one random thing. Case in point, I saw a TikTok video recently that I think it's an Indonesian like boat racing team had like an 11-year-old kid at the very front of the boat doing a basic dance with the rhythm of the strokes. The kid went viral because somebody else recorded him doing a dance. Boom, easy.
Oh shoot.
And you know, we have to remember that if you're trying, in my opinion, if you're trying to make it in the realms of live streaming, there is a prerequisite, and in my opinion, a requirement to produce a certain level of quality in the live streaming space, because viewers have expectations. We have I believe our analytics will not grow if our content and quality of streams don't grow with what's needed, because everything's now at 1080p, everything's at 240 frames a second. People have monitors that can see the most BS level pixel, and that goes the same exact way. You make a YouTube short, someone with a really nice monitor and say, that kind of looks a little blurry. And even like modern day families have that now. And I think that streamers need to understand that analytics also are not just off the content that you're recording, but it's the method that you're recording.
Yeah, I agree.
And
some people do better with streaming, and some people do better with videos. Like, it's another one of those things where you got to find your niche. Like, what do you enjoy more, and what gives the best output? You know, the best results.
Yeah, and so a question I have for you, Digi, is double check my little note here. It went away. No, I had it right here.
No,
my notes. I have so many questions. I had a really good one. Here we go. Found it. So Digi, in regards to content creation and streaming, do you believe it's possible to love the work even when it doesn't love you back?
Like, you love what you put out, but it didn't give you the same love in return, right?
Exactly. Like, for example, I make weekly YouTube videos of various things, like review videos, let's plays. I put a lot of love and effort and recording attempts to that, but up until recently, I've had next to no return on investment, basically. So do you believe it's possible to love the work you do, even though it doesn't love you back?
Oh yeah, and I have a really great example for that too. So, just recently, I posted a video. Not recently, but kind of recent. I think it was last month. I posted a video that I worked on in Warudo, and it was a lore video. It's still pinned on my page to this day, but it was a lore video that I had created for Digi. And it was made completely in Warudo, so all 3D models. It took me about 4 hours.
Nice.
And it was a lot of cut scenes and clip editing and some effects and stuff. So it took me a bit. It didn't take me too long, but it took me a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really proud of it. I loved it. It came out great. I watched it to see if I could improve on some things, and I posted it to Twitter. So that got me, I think, 45 likes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it took me about 4 hours. See, I was, maybe I was expecting more, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, okay, maybe people didn't see it. No, I post a picture of my Stellaris colored as in trade colors.
Oh yeah.
One screenshot of that, and I got 11.9k likes.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, interesting. And the reason I felt that way is, one, the first one I worked on for hours. I put a lot of love in it. I liked it. I thought it came out really well. It was all done in complete water though. And I used a lot of 3D assets and stuff. I edited. And the second one was just coloring a mecha in Mecha Break. And I barely put any time in that. So I definitely would say, yeah, I've seen that happen to me before. Where I'll put a lot of love and care into certain things, and other things where I don't put nearly as much effort in gets more attention.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't see anything too wrong with it. I don't blame the people for not liking that more, because at the end of the day, people are gonna like what they like, and they're not gonna like what they don't like,
Yeah.
And you can't force it. The sad part is you never know what's gonna blow up until you do it. It could be the most stupidest thing you worked on and it blows up,
Yeah.
Whereas something you put your heart and soul in barely gets any attention. But I would say it didn't discourage me from doing it, because at the end of the day, the people who liked it did enjoy it, and most importantly, I enjoyed making it, and it's stuff that I enjoy creating,
Yeah.
Even though that one coloring posts of my Stellaris did well, I probably would never post something like that again, because I don't see the reason to, but I see myself posting more Warudo videos about my lore, because I had fun. I thought it came out great, and people will enjoy it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's always going to be an audience for everything. So yeah. And the curse of art, yes.
The curse of art, 100%. And so
yeah,
I think what we tend to forget a lot of times in the realms of content creation and the realms of analytics, things simply need time to cook. Because what happens a lot of times when I asked about some questions I have with my YouTube people is they had a buddy of his had a YouTube video of God of War Ragnarok, older game nowadays, but older game, made a short of it, no problem, had maybe 200 views. Cool. Didn't really do too good for him. The guy looked at his video last month, 1.1 million out of absolutely nowhere. The thing is people, the thing with content creation chat, for everyone who's watching or listening here today, understand that the importance of just posting is important, because not only are you making a moment in an attempt to make a certain type of content, but given proper abilities, your content will do you favors in the future. Because the biggest situation is that's the power, the great power of YouTube. Your analytics are going to be weird for a while, but because you simply chose to be involved and you made something in your own efforts in your own way, it's going to work out. A very good case in point, the very famous YouTuber by the name of Markiplier. He, many years ago, made a prediction video about the website known as Honey. It's a couponing website, weird place. And then up until very recently, mind you, he made a video prediction years ago. Very recently, a month and a half, 2 months ago, I think, Honey announced bankruptcy, and a lot of people were freaking out about it because it's wait, Honey's a scam? And literally, Markiplier's video from multiple years ago blew up because people were wait a second, there's a connection. Oh my God, he called it. And yeah. Or, and put it in a more simple way, think of The Simpsons. I know it's a really weird sentence to start with, but think of the Simpsons, chat. Think of the amount of times you've had people talk about Simpsons episodes predicting what happens in the real world. These are episodes 10 to 15 years in the past, and they become relevant now because of one or two really well-placed connections. That's the same exact thing with YouTube and YouTube Shorts. If you are making a YouTube video about a video game and you're doing like a game review, for example, make the game review, and if someone is interested about what the game review is, they'll find your video eventually. Boom, free potential subscriber and a potential super fan.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
So it's one of those things where our analytics are, by all means, they do not need to hold us by the throat, but we can hold hands with them, if that makes sense. I don't think you should let your analytics get away from you, because especially if you are, in my opinion, if you are a serious content creator who's trying to grow with analytics, and if you're trying to hopefully become something bigger than just an everyday streamer, it's important to be either side by side and holding hands with your analytics so that you know what you're doing to maintain pace. And I think, and for me, you know, back to like we talked about earlier, you know, I understand the sentiment of the idea, at least, of gaming what you want to game and then content will eventually come out is a crapshoot. It's a dice roll, because you're hoping that the algorithm and you're hoping that the system is going to just give you views, when in reality we can't, if you're serious about it, you can't afford to wait. You need to jump in and go into the relevant topics that, in my opinion, will give you the results and analytics that you're looking for by doing things that you should have been doing long ago.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like that Iron Mouse mentality, dude. Like, when she started out, I think she was streaming for like 3 or 4 years with almost nothing, like almost no viewers, barely any attention. And she was a VTuber, I think, at the time, you know? Like, this was when they were first coming out. And even in the beginning, Iron Mouse still jumped on that bandwagon. She barely got any recognition, but then I don't know what happened. I don't know what video it was, but all of a sudden she blows up, and now she's like the queen of VTubing. You know, she's one of the most subscribed VTubers, and it's all because she kept going at it, or something that she did blew up. You know, and it just goes to show, like, you never know. And that's why I would never tell someone like, hey, just end, you know, because everyone always has an opportunity to be seen, you know. There's always something they could improve on for it to blow up to, like, I don't know, a big VTuber and stuff like that. You just never know. And I feel like I can't blame them for wanting to, because at the end of the day, it does get frustrating. It gets frustrating when you don't see, like, you don't see results in your favor, or like your fruits of your labor are just not being like recognized as much. And it does get frustrating. It sucks. And honestly, there's been some people I've talked to that are like, you know, I just want to quit because I feel like no one ever notices me, no one ever sees me. I'm not relevant. There's people who have started way after me who've blown past me now. And it's so discouraging, you know, and it sucks. Like, you could understand where they're coming from. Oh, yeah. But it's this whole, like, you just got to keep at it, you know? Maybe sometimes you need to change your mindset. Maybe sometimes you're looking at it the wrong way, you know? And that's why I try to keep my mindset of, I just want to have fun. I just want to play games, because when you're not expecting it, that's when you do get surprised, because you're not waiting for a day. You're not waiting for, like, oh, when's my big moment and stuff. You're just enjoying the vibes. You're enjoying what you have now. Like me, I enjoy that I can talk to my chat without it flowing away, you know, and I'm enjoying what I have now, because if I do continue going on the path that I'm at, there is a possibility it might, you know, it might blow up, and I might not be able to talk to chat like the way that I do now, you know? So it's about enjoying the small things that you have now, and slowly making your way up to your goals. Or, you know, chase in the dreams, but you just got to keep at it, you know?
Oh yeah. It's very important to, you know, be very truthful and be very, like, you know, understanding. And, you know, I think that patience is a very big thing, and in many ways patience can be a creative superpower. But, you know, I think sometimes there's a sense that, you know, patience in wanting a video or wanting a project to make results is a sense of, I think it can lead to burnout, because thankfully my IRL job has kind of taught me to avoid being overly patient with a project. Because, for example, I will make a video, I'll post it, and then I will let it run, and then it will be out of sight, out of mind until something happens with it. But I mean it in a good way, because I think there are people out there that they make a YouTube video, they post it, and they're looking every other day, where's my 1,000 views, where's my 1,000 views, or even a stream. You know, they're looking at their analytics, and, you know, and again, I think it's important to be very aware, very aware, very understanding of where your analytics are at, because, you know, if your analytics are not what you're wanting to see, make a change. And I know by saying that, there's going to be people in my community, or even who are watching this video right now, who says, well, it's not that easy, Nico. I have been changing and nothing's happening. Then it's a situation where you got to look into you got to look at it in a more deeper level, because sometimes it's as simple as the quality of the videos that you're doing are not good enough in terms of the blurriness and the pacing. Sometimes it's the game. I think the game that people choose to play sometimes is not good content creation gaming, because I think there are games that are good for streaming, and then there are games that are good for YouTube, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%.
And
I agree with that.
It's very, in my opinion, it's a hard pill to swallow, because, you know, there are certain types of games that you need to be at a certain level or a certain point in the game for it to make good streaming content for a larger majority of people. Obviously, people can stream whatever the heck they want, and it's good times all around. But, you know, it's a situation that we as streamers who are trying to make it and make financial goals and financial gains off this, you have to constantly be looking at the relevancy of what we're doing. And it's very important to say, okay, what I'm doing is not working. We need to make a change. So
yeah,
for you, Digi, a question I would like to ask in like terms of like the hopes of hope and rebirth as a content creator, like if you personally could restart your journey and, you know, start fresh and then do what you're doing now, what do you think you would do differently to give you a better sense of success?
I would be more consistent on posting reels, videos, and clips, because I noticed when I started out doing that, I got viewers from different platforms, and I got views on my clips and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said before, the laziness hit me, because then I was like, yeah, you know, what if I'm not producing, you know, I don't know, melody level videos, melody level clips, stuff like that. Like, I'm not producing that kind of quality. So I think I'm just gonna take a break and, you know, stream. And if I could go back, I would be more consistent with that and not like let the laziness and let the doubt stop me from doing it. Because I will say, if I did continue with that up until this point, like from start to now, I'd probably have more of a better success than I have now. Not saying I'm not like having a great time now, but it would be better along my journey than it would be now, you know?
Yeah, I think for me, like looking back what I've attempted to accomplish and what I've done now, because again, with the amount of years that I've put into this gamble and this creative process, I feel like I should be a lot farther along. Because a kind of a kick in the gut that I had the other day that kind of reminded me I really need to change was I have been on YouTube for officially now 2 years, and the hardest thing for me on YouTube is getting my watch hours up. I've had the subs forever, but I can't get the watch hours up. And someone who I respect and love their content, they started YouTube around 6 months ago. They already have the watch hours. They just need the subs now. And, you know, for me, you know, the hardest part about like content creation when you're with other creators is hearing other people's pace of success. Because you know, you look at the people who you hope are on the same level as you, but you see that they have just the right mentality to be, for lack of better terms, a little bit better than you, and then they ride that hype all the way into that next phase of their content creation. And that's really what kind of like really inspired me to try to look at my analytics and my styles into a more of a business venture, because it's so it's almost irresponsible of me at this point to not look at my journey and figure out the ways that I can actually be better at what I'm doing, because I don't want to be a hobbyist streamer. I don't want to be at that level, because I would like, for me, my personal goals of content creation, I want to pay medical school with my views and the things that I earn from Twitch and YouTube. You know, like everything that I'm doing now is because I'm trying to support my wife through her current educational adventure. And I also would like to, you know, like, do you know how badass it would be at a dinner party of doctors and MDs and say, oh, how did you pay for medical school? And then my wife looks at me, my husband made YouTube videos. I want that flex. I want that badge. I want that big old Texas badge. And bam, that's how I get it.
Flex.
The biggest flex.
I'd be so impressed if I were them.
Like, because like I have various goals that I think allow me to inspire me to really, in a responsible manner, a really responsible way for me to say, I need to do this way because of this reason. Like, I need to make content creation. I need to make this content creation because if I don't do better with my content creation, then I'm not going to be able to attain my goal of, you know, supporting my wife through this venture. Because I love doing this as a hobby, but I really want to make this a career because I find passion and enjoyment. And I get to talk to really fun people like you, Digi, during these awesome things, you know? And I think it's really fun. It's just fun to remember that, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely opened up a lot of opportunities, and I don't know, I feel like VTubing has a lot of potential to be great in a lot of ways, you know? Like, it's opened so many opportunities that really only VTubing has introduced. Like, for example, Dodger Stadium. Like,
oh my god, yeah.
I've never seen such a place have anime girls on the big screen, you know? And it's stuff like that where it's like, how far can VTubing go in real life? You know, like where I'm living, there's an area by me that has in real life VTuber events, and like, you know, not even 10 years ago, that wasn't a thing, you know? Like having an animated person who's not AI, who's live talking to you or doing like meet and greets and stuff like that. Yeah. In a place near you, and however far in the world, you know, that you travel. It's stuff like that where it's like there's so much potential that VTubing has and still continues to show all the great things that's coming out of it and stuff. And I don't know, there's just so much stuff to explore in it that there's no point in giving up, because you never know. There's something you could very well like explore. There's something you could come across that no one ever has before. Because it's still so new, you know? So there's so many opportunities and so much potential in VTubing right now, you know? So just get on it, you know?
Oh yeah. I It always warms my heart to hear that like there are people who have like a similar outlook in regards to this topic, but it's lovely. But ladies and gentlemen, as we get to some of our final moments here today on today's episode and today's topic, today's silver lining is talking about the understanding that your analytics do exist. And if you are a full-time content creator who is trying to actually aim for bigger heights and bigger situations, it's important to remember that your analytics are a book that you can read to understand how you can improve to reach goals that you're actually aiming to do. Understand that your analytics are more than just the type of game you're playing. Your analytics are everything from your audience's retention, your personal video quality, and so on. This is a challenge that every content creator must go through, but you do not need to go through it alone. Asking advice from people with better levels of confidence, better levels of partnerships with other people and other crews, because you do not need to reinvent the wheel. The book has been written, you just need to read it, and it's important to understand that analytics can change drastically, and we are the ones who are at the end of the day in control of those analytics. Digi, I want to thank you so much for being a part of today's episode, for being a part of today's fantastic discussion. Do you, by chance, have any last minute questions for me or to the audience that you would like to go over before we officially end?
Well, I just want to say, first off, thank you, Tron Bro, for having me. I love being invited on things like this and just talking to whoever has invited me, because they always have such amazing insight and questions, and just getting to know them even more as a person. Question for you, Tron Bro.
Questions.
I gotta ask.
Questions.
What made you want to pick me in the vast majority of streamers to have on your show?
Your hair. No.
Okay, fair.
Like for me personally, one of the biggest things is that with this particular discussion topic is I wanted to incorporate a creator who I've seen has been putting effort to change and adding content such as your 3D model, your Warudo videos that you've been posting here and there. You are amongst the few people that I know of in the VTubing space and even the content creator space of in the same level as me for words is you're a person that I've seen who's been actually making things to try to break out of the hobbyist level in terms of the quality of content, while also taking advice from other people to do better as a content creator. Because for me lately, many of the people who I've had on this show consider themselves to be hobbyist individuals because of minor limitations, because of either scheduling or because of self-confidence in how they choose to create content. And I wanted to have you on this show because I think from what I've seen with you pushing and making more types of content, you're trying to put yourself on that way to break out of the hobbyist mold and put yourself on the better pedestal of a full-time content creator. And I adore that. And I want to be able to be there with you, if not only as a cheerleader, but also as a person that we can hopefully grow together with the same degree of mindsets.
That would be awesome, Tron Bro. You know what? And with that being said, I have one more question, if that's okay with you.
Oh, as many as you want.
All right. Since we were on the topic of constructive criticism, do you have any constructive criticism for me, being 100p?
100p. 100%. Hell yeah. Well, first we gotta get in there and figure things out. So like I said, so one of the biggest things that I learned from my connections with my fellow YouTube partners is the biggest thing that we can do as creators when it comes to like making better quality types of content is 100% just, it's as simple as upgrading our bit rates for our streams so that we can have nice quality items. I will say right off the get-go, when it comes to you, like, you know, the types of streams you do, because your streaming quality, I love it because of the fact that you have a very visually stunning type of content when it comes to like your starting student screen. Like that animation, insane, super awesome, super cool. You know, I love it. I think it's really fun. And then, you know, what I like too is, you know, like we go to your shorts, for example. You know, by the way, guys, if you guys want to check out DigiVralie, there will be a link in the description for Digi's YouTube and Digi's Twitch. I highly recommend you guys come by and check those out. But what's really fun, Digi, is, you know, you have a good variety of experimentation with your shorts because, you know, you're putting your model out there. You have things like the cat. I love how every time I talk about these shows, one of my cats is perfectly in the middle of my monitor. I can't see your shorts because her fat fluff is in the way.
It's cat time.
Cat time. but yeah, and so, you know, like for example, like when I look at like your one of your shorts where you did your 1.0 versus 2.0, you know, I think what's really fun is like, you know, the concept and the model of it is really nice. It's a different style of video, and like pulling up like the tricycles never win clip, you know. By the way, absolutely funny as hell looking clip. Like visually it looks really nice, and you're putting things like it's like the screen shake, the zoom in. Like, it's the little details like that that allow clips like that to be visually entertaining. You know, I think at the end of the day, all it is just the consistency and the quality of your editing, while also, you know, understanding like how consistently you can make shorts, you know. And obviously it's time, it's effort about it, you know. And like when it comes to like, you know, YouTube videos, when it comes to like the type, hard as hell to get, because sometimes it doesn't always make sense like what videos work and what videos don't. Because personally, I've had to give up on doing Let's Play content for a while until I can figure it out, because to me, Let's Play content is not as commonly sought out as much. There is still people who want to look at videos like that. And I think like right now, today's audience in the world of YouTube is either shorter attention span or it's very particularly niched. I think the fact that you are making VOD channels of your items is really good. What I would suggest is start making usage of YouTube playlist. Make playlists of your, because the reason why playlists are important is it puts all of your content into very nicely organized categories. So that way, because what it is like, for example, when you go to my YouTube, I have playlists dedicated to the podcast. I have playlists dedicated to game reviews. So that way people can look for particular things right at the get-go. And in addition to that too, sometimes it's as simple as organizing how your channel looks, because one big thing you can do is you can find a video that you personally like on your streams, because like we're gonna do a little rotation here to see if I can show this on the podcast episode here today to kind of give you guys a bit of a gist like what I'm talking about here tonight. And then let me share the screen for you just that way you can see what I'm talking about, so that way there's a visual association to it. And again, this is all 100% 100p here, just so that way give it a fun way to talk about it. We're gonna make ourselves nice and short. Now, of course, by pure disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a end-all be-all advice piece. This is just what I've found from being heard from other people. So when you look at like my YouTube, for example, right at the get-go, the first thing you'll see is like a featured video, a video that is that people who are going to visit my channel for the very first time are going to see it. I have a featured video that is my clip highlight reel. And then, and then when you scroll down, you'll see things like my playlist, Resident Evil, Dungeons and Dragons, my shorts section. This way, it puts everything on the front page, and they can choose how they want to incorporate it. And obviously, you know, having playlists is very important in the world of YouTube, because it allows you to, you know, organize your channel, gives your viewers places to, you know, go about. And it's also very important to make usage of things like your viewer information. So like, for example, we go over to my most recent video that I published yesterday, has almost 700 views, and it's a long form video. This video that I did of a game review of Mecha Break, for example, this was published on July 18th. It's already almost at 700 views, and it was a lower effort video, in my opinion. But I also had my editor to help me out with that. Like, having things
Nice.
like a proper description, using hashtags are important to an extent too, and also, you know, getting proper programs to help you get your information. Like vidIQ I use a lot because it offers me a way to say, hey, posting at this time of the day is more likely to assist you. And then like using like the video end screen in all of your videos, so that way at the end of every video your viewers can have a button to click to go to Twitch and a button to click to subscribe, and then on top of that a button that takes them to another video so that they can just go from one video to the next without having to stop.
Right, okay. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing some of that, because I'm not going to lie, some things that you mentioned did not even cross my mind. So very helpful, very insightful.
And
yeah, I appreciate that.
Of course. And like I said, the biggest thing that has helped me personally as of right now, because like I said, I've had a change on my YouTube vertical streams. My YouTube vertical streams have now had a minimum of like 200 to 300 views every single stream, and I'm not doing anything differently. And the biggest thing that's changed is I've upped my bit rate that allows me to have the best, crispiest quality videos in the long run. That has been the biggest game changer in my streaming situation now, is recording locally and bit rates higher, because when you record locally, it does not take as much hardware to record from your computer directly if you're just recording, which is why my recording bit rate is at 40,000, because that way there's as much data in the video as possible, and then when I do basic editing, it makes it so that I can have crispy videos. That way, no matter what the resolution of the monitor is, you give a nice, solid, crispy visual. Because that's what people look for. Because when people look on a YouTube video, they don't necessarily care that, you know, you're attempting to, you know, play a certain video game. They want to see if it looks good, you know, and that's really all it is. They just want to see if a video looks good, and that's the first thing we should always keep in mind whenever we make a video.
Yeah, for sure.
So I hope that gives you some degree of an understanding about like what I've been trying to do as personal changes lately, and hopefully puts you in a better direction.
Yeah, no, everything that you've told me, Nico, has been very helpful. Like, if it wasn't for you giving me that push, because I feel like outside pushes are very, very helpful. If it wasn't for you giving me that push that one day, I probably would not have started posting reels and the whole playlist thing. Like, I never even thought of that, so that I will for sure be doing. So it's very nice to have outside constructive criticism while being polite at the same time, because with those two mixed together, not only will people be more inclined to listen to you, but when they do it and they find out you're right, it's like, oh my gosh, you're just a game changer, you know, and you've helped us both out, basically. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely appreciate you and your wise words. And thank you so much for having me here today. It's been great.
Of course. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, if you guys are here today and enjoying today's podcast video, consider liking, subscribing, and checking out DigiVralie in the comments section. There will be additional videos and shorts of this podcast coming up in addition. And if you or a fellow streamer would like to be interested in becoming the next guest in the Silver Lining podcast, can feel to join us over in our Twitch, where you can come check out our Discord and learn more about the show from there. But nevertheless, so I have been your host, Nico Silverado. This is DigiVralie, and this has been episode 9 of the Silver Lining Podcast. And as always and forever, we'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, sayonara, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.